multifaceted and rich in the images that can be used to characterize our field. In my extensive research, both in and out of the classroom, I have found that there are several methods that can be deployed when researching art education. For example, I've noticed a common tendency to map progress according to images of popular culture. Now, in the Midwest, they don't get much popular culture, but there is this really cute little coffee shop which is something up on Main Street. And every Sunday, they order the New York Times for me. But what I really like to do is I really like to read the New Yorker. Do you read the New Yorker? It makes me feel so cosmopolitan. And since I was in New York, I love magazines so much, I thought I'd challenge my big old pink brain, and I reviewed the historical paradigms of art education as documented on the covers of the New Yorker. So here's just a few examples that I found. That was enough. Formless language. Gender construction. Technological humanism. Eastern ideology. And of course, Western ideology. With the emerging enthusiasm for visual culture research, it seems appropriate to provide a content analysis of recently published research in light of TV shows, of course. So in looking to the TV guide for assistance, I came up with some shows that we could use as key descriptors of the different types of art education research that's out there. For example, if I were to say, boy, that research is really a Seinfeld, it means it's really research that's not about much of anything. Or if I were to say, that's a Survivor. Reality-based art education. RBA. And we have The Simpsons. Classical research. Homer's Odyssey with art. The National Geographic Channel. And all research programs in this channel. The Crocodile Man. Research Sex in the City. Field research. Blue Weather Channel. Continual relay of the demographic charts. The Sopranos. Okay, now we're going to move to the next section. And that is myths and cliches about art education that are really pervasive in our field, and I think really inhibit the growth in art education, and especially in our research efforts. Here's just a few examples that are illustrated by cartoons and photographs. And some of these cliches I think you might be familiar with. Art helps you express yourself. The arts increase your self-esteem. Arts learning integrates the world of the child, the butterfly, and the world of art. Seeing is believing. Children see what they draw. Areas help you get the form, and then she's saying, no, children, listen to the guide, I can draw like that. I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. I'm having an aesthetic experience. Now, you've probably all recognized that there's an extensive use of narrative in much of the art education research that's out there today. And I would go so far as to say it's a content trend. I would like to look at the highlights of this pervasive influence of narrative as a research methodology, and as a research outcome in art education. These days, it seems that almost all research in education is narrative in some form or another. And I'd like to give you an example from a recent abstract from an article that was published in Studies in Art Education. At that point, descriptive statistics were run separately on the high and low quartiles for both the responding and creating variables. Because the number of possible responses within each varied category, both responding and creating variables were calculated for each possible answer, a total of 548 comparisons between quartiles, together with their heir to the heir resulted. Of these 248 comparisons, only 10, 1.8%, showed quartile differences of 20% or more, while another 26, 1.7%, showed quartile differences between 15% and 19.9%. Now, for the sake of brevity, this article will concentrate on only those 36 comparisons which relate directly to the 19 factors that demonstrate quartile differences of 15% or more. Now, for clarity, the factors are arranged in the descending order as indicated in the tables in the 5th and 9th columns, respectively. A less obvious but a very common outcome of art education research is the way that the practice of research gets associated with specific art educators. It's kind of like Best in Show, where the dogs kind of take on the characteristics of their owners. Their contribution, if you look at the art educators to art education research, is found in their many research publications. But a clue to their particular influence is also found in anagrams of their name. And an anagram is when you take, I'm sure you know, but an anagram is when you take the words of a name, for example, Lisa, and you switch them around, and you come up with another word, like sail. And it's really, really fun when that person then kind of takes one of those characteristics. Like, for example, Lisa might like to sail a lot in her yacht on the Hudson. So here we have Arthur Eflin. I'll give you a moment to see if maybe you can try to figure out what the anagram for Arthur is. Arthur's research is distinctive because he continually redrafts and fine-tunes his historical analysis using his draft hand rule. Eliot. Eliot W. Lester. He really is a wise old enlightener. And then we have Carrie Friedman. Carrie's alter ego is Carrie and Frank. Rachel Mason. Rachel's name describes the research methods tradition of dissertation study that gives rise to normal aches. And for those of you who have recently written your dissertation or in the throes of writing your dissertation, you know you felt a lot of those aches. Moving on to John Steers. John Steers' long association with InSEA is now well documented in his after-dinner research that he undertakes as the Honorable S. Jester.